We're here at the Nelson Mears Auditorium of the Chow Chak Wing Museum, and a warm welcome to those also joining us online via Hack Live as we stream to our entrants and guests across Australia, New Zealand, and the South Pacific Islands. We're here to celebrate and announce the winners of the Humanitarian Innovation Awards Hackathon for 2024. My name is Melanie Lewis. I'm a member of the Humanitarian Innovation Awards Committee. And what I love about this event is the real world challenges the students solve for, solutions of which you will see the best of the best this evening as I MC you throughout this event. In humanitarian engineering, we come together across multiple disciplines to make the world a better place for marginalised communities. And what a fantastic night we have ahead to celebrate these practical solutions submitted by our hackathon entrants after 48 hours of intense efforts back in July. This is our 6th year of this important initiative. We'd like to say a huge thank you to Professor Ron Johnston. The Humanitarian Innovation Awards are only possible due to your immense generosity and financial support, so thank you. We would also like to acknowledge our special guests, far too many to mention, but including our New South Wales MP, the Honourable Chantuvon, Minister for Innovation, Science and Technology, thank you for coming. Sydney University's Provost and Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Anna-Marie Jargos, thank you. Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Hesham El-Gamal, all of which we will be hearing from tonight, and to all the other esteemed guests in the audience and beyond, thank you for being here. So for all of you here tonight, just some housekeeping, mandatory stuff we have to do. May I remind you to please turn your mobile phones to silent, just in case you haven't done that. The nearest restrooms are located out there somewhere to the left. And in case of evacuation, please exit the room swiftly but orderly to the nearest fire exit located to the left, following the exit signs. Listen out for any instructions from our fire wardens as well. And we will convene at the meeting point, which is the front lawns of the Great Hall right across the road. Hard to miss that building. We do have a welcome to country coming. Sydney traffic, our Uncle Michael has been held up, so we will come back to Uncle Michael in a little while when he arrives. For now, I'd love to introduce you to the Provost of the University of Sydney, Professor Anna-Marie Jargos, who will deliver our welcome address. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle, and welcome, colleagues, friends, students. It's great to welcome you to the University of Sydney and this fantastic event, the Humanitarian Innovation Hackathon. I know we have a welcome to country to follow. Nevertheless, I'd like to take a moment collectively to acknowledge country. We're on Gadigal land here on Camperdown campus, and the Gadigal Gal people, the people of the Gaddy plant or the grass tree. And those of you who are sitting facing the window could look out and see a couple of Gaddy planted there, those spiky tree-like palms. And if you look out later on, you'll see there's another stand of 3 on the corner. And it's not an accident that in recent years, the university has landscaped with a lot of these Gaddy plants. If you walk around campus, you'll see on the entry to City Road, for example, there are 12 ancient Gaddy that stand taller than me in 4 different stands across the front row. And it's part of the university's commitment to thinking about how do we materialise in the everyday environment, part of our history and our current moment that we are proud of. And that's just one way in which we can sort of imprint our environment with some of the things that matter. Okay, I think I just want to say a few things about the hackathon. One, how fantastic it is that this is the 6th year that we're able to hold it. Such a great, I imagine, spark of innovation in 2019 to think up the format for this idea, but the generosity of formatting it in such a way that it can bring together innovative, ambitious students to work collaboratively with each other under conditions that I imagine are not very relaxing. 48 hours, maybe they don't all know each other, have to have not only responded to a quite demanding challenge, but then produced a pretty professional show reel in order to show their collaborative work. This year, the hackathon involves students from 27 universities, not all in Australia, but from Fiji too, Papua New Guinea and New Zealand. And having spent some time over the weekend looking through the show reel of the 11 finalists, I was also amazed at how much inter-university collaboration there was amongst the groups and teams, which was just brilliant. Lured in, no doubt, by the 3 brilliant challenges: transportation data gaps, digital solutions for small-scale food production, and reducing waterborne disease outbreaks. I mean, really, which one would you choose to solve? Each of the 3, I think, very, very deserving. There were 42 team entries, which have been whittled down to 11 deserving finalists by the mentors, and from whom the 3 winners will shortly be announced this evening. I have to say, I learned quite a lot from browsing the presentations myself, about contaminated fish in Vanuatu, about bus commuter hazards in Fiji. The innovation aspect is very clear, even from the finalists' names, their team names: Sun Bros, We're on Island Time, and then the 3 that really seem to be like they want to start a girl band, perhaps, Slash, Cash and Brats. So that's the innovation of the students that we've got on our hands tonight. I don't envy the judges given the quality of the competition. But it's my pleasure now to introduce the Honourable Analak Chantavong, Minister for Innovation, Science and Technology, for his address.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, for the warm introduction, and Professor Ron Johnson, and of course, finalists and hackers, and of course, the university community. I'm always delighted to be back here at my old alma mater as a former and I think deferred current student. It's always a great delight for me to be back on campus and to show things. I'd firstly, of course, like to acknowledge we are indeed on the lands of our traditional Australians, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Now, what a wonderful event it is today. We come to celebrate the hard work, the innovation and the ingenuity of our future generation, trying to solve real-life humanitarian problems. Water diseases, food, and of course, transport. 3 amazing topics, fueled by, of course, 3 amazing levels of innovation. From all our students, I really take my hat off to you, to all the young people here today, as a proof that digital technology can make and does make a big difference to our world today. Things are changing and they're changing so quickly, and digital and technical solutions has to be part of it. What strikes me, though, amongst all the finalists is some of the problems that you're actually trying to resolve. I'm told there's some really incredibly creative ideas that have come about. A drone to monitor health of local fish and reduce poisoning in the local community, an app that makes small agricultural enterprises more productive, and even a tap nozzle that cuts down on the need for expensive testing and delivers cleaner water. And there are so many more ideas on these lists. And so important are these solutions that you've done that it's going to impact and make significant impact on communities everywhere. And that's what technology and digital advancement is actually about. It's about change. It's about creating a better community. It's about improving people's lives. Change matters, science matters, and digital technology solutions has to be part of it. Now, the New South Wales government is committed to technology. Sydney and New South Wales really is the centre of technological advancement across not only the country, I would say the Southern Hemisphere. Sydney is a world-renowned city that continues to retain and attract talent that is able to solve the world's problems, to create new ideas, and to actually disrupt sectors that have been, I think, a bit lazy for too long. And the reason we can do that is because we have people like the people who have involved in the hackathon, their energy, their ideas, their commitment to solve real world problems. And because fundamentally, digital technology is a people-based business. If we can't attract people, young minds who can and want to solve problems, then we're never going to create the solutions that we actually need to address the problems that we actually have. So I really encourage you to continue to experiment, probably fail in the process, and that's where you actually learn towards a solution. I always think the worst decisions are the ones that's probably not made or the ones that's not taken. So never be afraid to actually take a punt, as they say, and actually try to solve things. You don't need to get it right the first time or every time. I don't think anyone actually ever does, but the important thing is to always have a go. I think those who have never failed in one sense are those who've actually never tried. And if you never tried, you can actually never work towards a solution. So the New South Wales government, of course, is here to support innovation, in particular amongst our young people. We have a number of grant opportunities and granting programs that are there fundamentally to allow ideas to germinate, for risks to be taken, and to ensure that our young people, in particular our young people, have somewhere to go if they've got an idea, for you to challenge yourself, to challenge your peers, to challenge the status quo. And that's what innovation technology is actually about, change and challenging the status quo. So I really want everybody to get involved. We have a number of our opportunities, for example, our biosciences fund, our physical fund. We have a number of amazing startups we might be aware about. For example, a company that I visited down at the University of Wollongong, you may have heard of it, it's Hysata. It's actually doing hydrogen energy. Stemming out of the University of Wollongong, it is now gone through a number of series of venture capitalist funding. It's essentially a $1 billion company in the making when it actually comes to fruition. A simple idea to create energy from water, the technology coming out from university, and of course coming fundamentally from someone with an idea and a commitment to solve our energy problems. That's where it all starts. It starts in your mind, and it starts, of course, with your commitment to create change. So companies like that, I think, really reflect the level of intellectual depth we have in our community, the level of intellectual curiosity, and of course, a willingness to actually continue to the challenge that actually our community and our environment actually poses to us. So challenges are actually opportunities, aren't they? They're opportunities to make a change, to make a better world. So I really encourage you to engage with the New South Wales government. We have a number of supporting programs, and at the moment, we are going through our innovation blueprint, which is really about resetting the relationship between the government and the innovation community and in our research institutions to ensure that governments utilises its resources to support you, your ideas, and your commitment to change. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the finalists. Can I just say congratulations to you? And I know that coming to events like this reinforces to me that our future is in very good hands. So congratulations to one and all.
Okay, thank you so much for that address. We'd like to introduce Uncle Michael West now, who has arrived. Uncle Michael is a member and cultural representative of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council and is here to deliver his welcome to country. Michael is from the Gamilaroi Nation, born and raised in Sydney, and member of the Stolen Generations. Thank you.
I'd like to say, Bajadi Gamarua, sorry I'm a little late. I actually couldn't find my glasses. I had a nap this afternoon and I couldn't remember where I put it. As you do sometimes when you get a bit older, when you hit over the 60s, I think. There's a few people in the audience who can relate to what I'm saying. It does happen like that. What I was going to say, when you do get a bit older, you do forget a few things sometimes, and it's but remember, we still have that knowledge and that wisdom. I think it's important to remember that for the young guys here that I can see up the back there, and also online that we have. I was going to say Sydney University here. I was here for the 150th for the Great Hall, which is a very interesting event where we had horses in the quadrangle in there, and some period costumes. It's very interesting. And it's important to support education. When you think about education is foundational. Myself, I'm from an ICT background. I was probably the first Aboriginal person with qualifications in somewhat the early 80s in that field. So I do understand how important technology is and about data and that and how we need to make informed decisions. And some of the organizations I'm working with now, it has been, I guess, getting us through this pandemic has been part of that. And what I was going to say, it's important we do also take that time out, connect with Mother Nature. I think is so important to reflect on Mother Nature and look at Mother Nature because there's some great things out there we can learn. I was going to say, obviously, here where we are here is in Gadigal, across that beautiful coat hanger. For those people who are not from Sydney or New South Wales, the coat hanger is the Harbour Bridge. Across that coat hanger, we have the clan of the Camaragal, where we have the suburb of Camaray named after Camaragal. And then if we were to head west and turn left, we would have Wongal would be the next clan after Gadigal. On the other side would be Wallamadigal, and that's where a person named Benelong and other Aboriginal people are resting. And obviously, where we have the Sydney Opera House, that is Benelong Point, named after Benelong. But traditionally, the name there is Jubbagali. Jubbagali is a traditional name. The rocks is Tullawallada, just the other side there. And if we kept going, we would hit a place called Parramatta. Parramatta is actually named after the Barra-Madigal clan. Barra meaning eel. In our language, you have trills. So there are other cultures that have that language nuance. I think the Welsh have that. So Barra means eel, and that's a place where we did trade with obviously the eels. And Barra is one of our totems, just as the beautiful whales that came in here for many, many millennia would go down and rest with their little calves down at Gomera, which is now known as Darling Harbour. Unfortunately, we don't have them resting as they used to. I was going to say there's some great knowledge and wisdom from looking from the animals and seeing what they're doing. They also pass down their knowledge, when you think about it, to the younger ones. I've been passionate about people respecting one of our totems, a bird. It's got white feathers, black tail feathers, a long neck and a long beak. Yes, I'm talking about the sacred ibis. The sacred ibis, also sacred in Egyptian culture, and it has other places around the world where it's respected, but we need to get back to respecting the sacred ibis. I know, please don't call me a bin chicken, thank you. I'm the sacred ibis. I may be going through your bins and I may be looking a little bit dirty sometimes, but it's not my fault. It's actually your fault as humans when you think about it, because we haven't been caring for country, and they're a wetlands bird. They've had to come to live with us the last about 30 years. So we need to understand that it's not their fault. And there is a correlation, I think, with Aboriginal people when you think about it. Dispossessed of its land, coming to live in the city, then blamed for its situation. We need to be honest in these conversations, and we can be intelligent and respectful when we do have tough conversations. What I was going to say, we live in very interesting times in the world these days. For the young people, I think they will hopefully see that there is a brighter future, that if we respect each other and treat each other with dignity, and that we create a society where everyone, and a world where everyone can be included, regardless of the postcode you're born in, regardless of the gender you identify, the color of your skin, or the shape of your eyes. You should be able to fulfill your dreams and aspirations. And isn't that the world that we want to create? Because who knows? And also including people with disabilities and neurodiversity. Who knows? The person that we may have marginalized before may be the person who can cure cancer. Yes, we need to be intelligent like that. It's important we do take a moment's silence to pay respects to the ancestors, pay respects to Mother Earth, pay respects to not only the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander traditional owners and custodians, the elders here, but also to where we're streaming and those in attendance here around the Asia Pacific. It's important we respect their elders too, because their knowledge holders and the wisdom that they have of their country and their culture is important too. And it's important that we reflect our journey, which is called life, and we become better citizens, not only in the country that we are, but also globally when you think about it. So if we just have a moment's silence, a moment of paying respects, and a moment of reflection, thanks. In Sydney here, we have 3 beautiful rivers. We have the Hawkesbury, Nepean, Georges, which are the aquatic boundaries of our nation. On behalf of Metropolitan, local Aboriginal Land Council members and elders, welcome everyone here. And congratulations for those just being nominated and also the winners. It's important that we do support the young people coming through, giving them skills and knowledge. I was lucky to, an example of that is where I live, I have a beautiful little community of ibises, and I was lucky to see an elder bird, one might say, taking 3 young birds for flying lessons, which is very interesting to see that. Not many people would notice that, but I do take the time to have a look at the animals that we're connected to, because it's so important. And I think because I respect them, I was lucky to see that. And it was wonderful seeing them learning the skills of flying. And it's important you do respect the animals, because to us, the animals, we all have different totems. Mine is not the ibis. I have the sand goanna and I have the red-bellied black snake, but I respect all the animals, and we need to be more understanding of that, because they all have their part to play in this wonderful planet we call Earth, and we need to respect them and look after them, care for them. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land never ceded. I'm sure no doubt the people who are the award winners will see them on a bigger stage in the future, but not only them, but also the nominees and also the people who are part of the courses. Who knows, any of those who are Australian, they may be a future Prime Minister or President. I always think about, when I meet young people, I'm thinking, am I looking at a future Prime Minister? Am I looking at a future President? Am I looking at a future leader from around the world, from all the different people we get to meet here at Sydney University and at Sydney itself and all the different universities? I'll leave you with those thoughts. Congratulations, and turn the page. Thanks.
That was wonderfully educational. Thank you, Uncle Michael. Okay, now we welcome Dr. Jacqueline Thomas. She's a lecturer in humanitarian engineering here at University of Sydney, and she was pivotal in producing the challenge statements that our participants pained over in a huge weekend of hacking. So we have a video for you here.
The hackathon event was designed to be accessible to all students, engineering or not, and to really focus on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I'd really like to say that we're opening people's eyes to what humanitarian engineering is, and I think more importantly, how students can use their skills, whether they're engineering skills or not, to tackle some of the world's most challenging problems. But these particular 3 challenges, the overarching theme this year was utilising digital technologies to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Digital technologies have really transformed our society in terms of, people having access to banking for the first time via their mobile phones, or women's groups having platforms to raise certain issues that perhaps they couldn't raise before. Those 3 challenges, the detailed components, the technical elements, was a collaborative effort between myself and Professor Stephen Williams from Digital Sciences Initiative and Associate Professor Somrita Sarkar, who represented the Net Zero Initiative. So for Challenge A, the author for this was Somrita, and her background to this was transportation is so key to access to a lot of economic opportunities. And she also made a good reflection that often the people in positions of policy making, their experience of transportation is often very different because they come from a higher demographic. And so she was saying that the data component is so critical to help policymakers understand the complexity and the needs of those people that do have to travel long distances for work, or can't afford to live close to where they work. Because no government can make good policy or help design good transportation networks in the absence of information. So for Challenge B, I worked on this challenge with Professor Stefan Williams from Digital Sciences Initiative. I myself was very shocked to learn that food insecurity has been increasing globally. So given all the progress we've made in other areas of the Sustainable Development Goals, for SDG 2, which is no hunger, to really be off track like this was, quite alarming. And one of the targets within that SDG is to increase the efficiency of small landhold farming. So that means that the smaller farmers who have smaller plots of land can be producing food efficiently and have the right support in terms of getting their produce to market or the right storage that they need, so that that food can reach the destinations that it needs to reach. Now, the digital technologies elements in here are really broad, and so it was really interesting to see all the different solutions that students came up with. For Challenge C, we're seeing that some drinking water sources are more contaminated and the frequency of outbreaks are increasing. So one of the most important things to do in an outbreak scenario is to detect those outbreaks early. And so in this challenge, I was thinking to myself, is a smarter way that we can leverage the fact that everyone's got digital phones to be able to have a community self-reporting. Because communities are quite intuitive. They'll know when the water's dirty and they'll get those first sort of symptoms of illness and they're like, oh, the water's not good. But they often lack the resources to be able to respond, or the resources to be able to, change a source or get a different drinking water source. But looking through some of the video submissions, I think the challenges have done what we wanted them to do from an educational perspective, in that we've challenged students to think about these different problems and to really use digital technology to help achieve them. So Sydney University is really proud to be the first university in Australia to offer the humanitarian engineering major. And I think that Warrington has actually done a really good job of raising the profile of humanitarian engineering at the University of Sydney. So you can see we've got education and outreach working hand in hand in this initiative, and we hope it can continue in some form into the future.
Thank you, Jackie, for the introduction of this year's challenges. Okay, now let's see a summary of the top 11 finalists, 11 because we couldn't decide on 10, and their submissions for the Hackathon 2024.
In order for Pacific Islanders to access guaranteed, safe water sources, routine monitoring and testing must be done for contamination and disease. However, routine laboratory-grade testing of every water source is expensive and impractical for developing nations. Our solution to this issue is a tap nozzle that can be distributed to households and businesses. It's composed of a nozzle attachment with a built-in sediment filter to remove particulates, and a colorimetric dye such as tetramethylbenzene. Users observe changes in the dye's colour to identify potential contamination of their water. Upon noticing a change, users can scan the attached QR code to report the data. Our solution is cost-effective, which means it's designed to be low cost for widespread community adoption. It engages local communities in monitoring their own water quality, empowering them to do their part. It uses real-time reporting to ensure immediate awareness and response to water quality issues. This data can be used in predictive analytics to forecast potential water quality issues. Such information enables health authorities to redirect testing, quarantine, and alternative water sources towards high-risk areas. The dashboard displays real-time health metrics and trends, facilitating efficient monitoring and response.
Climate change has put all nations under new risks and challenges, especially the Pacific Island regions like the Federated States of Micronesia. A massive strain is now on the country's agricultural industry, which centres around subsistence farming and accounts for 50% of the country's labour.
While smaller farms work, they're self-contained and fail to leverage the benefits of cooperation. The small size also holds little room to scale up, preventing greater efficiency from economies of scale.
The solution is a digital tech app called Back Farmers, which revolves around establishing interconnected relationships between individual farms, forming a robust network, This platform's main features are a market hub and a shared equipment space with potential for other features as well.
The Market Hub is a tool that allows farmers to cooperate and coordinate their crops by seeing what everyone else is growing. Farmers tend to gravitate towards more valuable crops to ease financial stress for the season. But when the whole island thinks the same, oversurplus occurs, devaluing the season's yield for everyone. The communication of the Market Hub means earlier planning can happen, with farmers choosing diverse crops to grow, eliminating the oversupply issue. This secures both greater profits and more autonomy in the agriculture market.
Our problem is the disconnectivity of Pacific Islands prevents effective synergies and trade from being discovered. So what we aim to provide is a cohesive digital solution, AgriTrade Digital, that allows farmers to trade production resources, crops, and collaborate to acquire supplies.
Agriculture in the Pacific is largely dependent on family-based farms, and produce is often spoiled and damaged along the supply chain. Digital technology is often difficult in the Pacific because they lack the capital, and we have to consider facts like smaller size of land available to users. And imports of agriculture is often really expensive, so seeds and fertilizers have really high transportation costs.
So the solution that we've come up with to tackle this is an app that will automate the agricultural trade, bridging farmers and ensuring that produce waste is limited. So it would be essentially like a digital marketplace for farmers to trade resources, make use of equipment. And this is a bit of a wireframe of what it might look like. It's based on the different stages of production. So, for example, in land preparation, you might be trading things like if someone's got a plot of land that they're not using, but they really need some fertilizer for their other crops, then they might be able to make a trade of someone else can come and use their land for in trade of something else. And there's different examples of that throughout the process. It would also look at trading like surplus food waste.
Citizens amongst the Pacific Islands have a large diversity and disparity in the ways of daily commutes, where higher income households have greater access to private transport and lower income households have unknown travel patterns and therefore needs. For public and private mass transport to improve available capacity, data needs to be collected on the most used and needed areas of transport. The solution consists of a pair of infrared sensors within doorways or entrances of vehicles, which detects each time a passenger boards or alights. The sensor sends a beam of infrared light across the entrance, and when that beam breaks, an entry is added to an expanding transport usage dataset that includes when the beam was broken and the location of the vehicle at that time. This system informs governmental bodies which areas are the most congested and therefore assists in determining where more transport is needed without being expensive and intruding on user privacy or current usage patterns. Private transport companies would also be incentivized to introduce the system by government subsidies and prospects of efficient planning.
In Vanuatu, fish is making people sick. An illness known as Ciguatera fish poisoning is endemic in the region, causing abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and neurological complications. It is caused by eating fish contaminated with ciguatoxins, which are produced by small marine organisms called dinoflagellates. These toxins do not affect the taste, smell, or texture of the fish, making them practically undetectable. They also cannot be destroyed by cooking or any method of food preparation, and there is no preventative medication for this illness. It's no surprise that Ciguatera fish poisoning plagues the region, with nearly 200 cases per 100,000 people per year.
We are Lunar Orbiter, and we believe we have the solution. Fish Doctor, a digital reporting and ecosystem improvement company. We deploy simple proprietary autonomous underwater vehicles, the Fish Nurses, to conduct automated surveying of at-risk areas using low-cost specialized digital microscopes to evaluate water samples in situ for the concentration of dinoflagellates in the water. We can then analyze these captured images from the microscopes via our own machine learning models, Fish Pathology HQ, to understand each sample's microbiome precisely. At the end of the evaluate phase, we construct a heat map of Vanuatu's main waters, with dinoflagellate concentrations indicating fishing locations with a high Ciguatera poisoning risk.
Many Pacific Island nations have powerful communication tools across small communities, yet predictable weather conditions can compromise water supplies, resulting in the increased spread of waterborne illness. Imagine if we could tell exactly where the next outbreak is going to be, exactly which communities are the most at risk, and even have the power to reshape water infrastructure in the most optimal, affordable, and sustainable way. Imagine if we could not only predict which disease is most likely to affect a certain area, but we could provide treatment even before a disease like cholera can claim its first victim.
This is exactly what our proposed solution, HydroSafe Analytics, allows us to do. It all begins with collecting data from communities. The data is then combined with publicly available weather and geodata in the pre-processing stage. The refined data is then fed into a predictive model that analyzes and determines communities at risk of water safety issues. The model churns out predictions and flags any areas that need attention. These results are then used by governments or NGOs to send the right resources like clean water supplies and purification tools to the places that need them most, and allow for local communities to prepare for any possible outbreaks and put preventative measures in place.
Fiji is a tropical island in the Pacific expected to experience a transport boom, with the number of daily commuters expected to increase to over 700,000 by the end of this decade. Currently, existing travel data in Fiji is sparse and transport trends are poorly understood. The most common mode of transport in Fiji are public buses, which are typically paid for through cash instead of a centralized trackable system. To address the transportation data gap in Fiji, the chosen data collection method must be simple, low cost, and seamlessly integrated into commuters' daily routines. We will be using miniature passive RFID tagging technology, which does not require a battery source and has a low manufacturing cost. Small, passive, metal-sensitive RFID tags last for up to 20 years at a time and can be as small as 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. Movable RFID sensors can be strategically placed in key areas to determine the density of traffic over a period of time, and moved as needed to get data on other areas, making this survey easily adaptable to the changing movements of the population.
Taro is rooted in the culture and diet of Pacific Islands. However, in the last 30 years, average taro corms have decreased from 6 kg to a mere 1 kg due to soil overuse and unpredictable weather patterns.
Taro should be planted in well-drained, fertile soils with high nutrients and low salinity to improve germination quality. Effective soil management, such as ensuring consistent moisture and fertilizer quantity, must be conducted throughout the plant's growth cycle to prevent disease. The Slash Model H will assist farmers in testing for these three conditions, and when used correctly, we believe it will increase average taro crop yield by 30%.
Introducing Slash Model H. It is a robust handheld device which measures soil moisture, salinity, and nutrients to assist farmers in their crop planting and growth during its germination phase. Simply stick the probe into the ground and push it until the desired soil depth, which are shown on the markings along the probe for the particular crop, is met. The probe is then taken out and the screw cap protecting the sensor is removed to have the sensor's 4 prongs exposed to the soil. The probe is then placed back into the soil and a reading is taken with the data indicated by the glowing sets of LEDs on the probe.
The beetle infestation in the Solomon Islands has exposed significant gaps in pest management and food production. These have been reported to damage various resources such as sugarcane, pineapple, and coconut. Farmers in local communities heavily reliant on coconut palms face income loss and food insecurity due to beetle damage, creating stress and production uncertainty. We aim to offer a practical, immediate solution for farmers.
Recent acoustic technologies demonstrate their acoustic monitoring systems which use sound waves to study beetle behavior. Similarly, we present a data collecting bioacoustic device that is equipped to emit sound waves, which influence the movement of beetles whilst gathering data in relation to weather patterns for analysis and prediction of pest control. These will be placed along the parameters of the farm to repel beetles and confine them into a designated area, allowing for easy collection of these pest species, ultimately reducing the agricultural threat.
The prototype consists of an audio transducer and a sensor for data collection. Data will be stored on an SD chip to be read externally by the user. The device will mainly utilize solar power to enforce sustainability, but will be equipped with a recycled battery backup. Wavelengths will oscillate between 0 to 24 kHz, held between 60 to 70 decibels, a volume which has shown to affect rhinoceros beetle behavior and is negligible to surrounding creatures.
Pacific Island countries have extremely high rates of drinking water contamination. In Fiji, 42% of rural residents do not have access to safe drinking water. We present to you Wai Sava Sava, a modular product mobilizing community reporting to achieve a streamlined monitoring system in cooperation with governmental authorities. When community members see something wrong with the water, whether it be a different smell, taste, or color, they can report it to their community leader through SMS. Leaders will submit a report through the app to alert the local council of the problem. The local database would then send an SMS to the whole community outlining that the water source is contaminated and the expected time testing by the council. Our solution has several key benefits. First, 84% of Fijians already own mobile phones, so our penetration rate will be extremely high. Wai Sava Sava will also facilitate quicker response times by health and water authorities, helping to strengthen the two-way relationship between rural communities and the government. Waterborne disease care costs Fijians around $260 million every year. With government funding as well as private sponsors in the tech space, our app would cost under $50,000 to roll out in the first year and only $7,500 to maintain every year thereafter. And since this is an SMS-based solution, villagers won't need to spend a single cent downloading anything if they've already got a mobile phone. We estimate that this would save Fijians $13.2 million per year, which then could be injected back into the economy.
As the world becomes more reliant on technology, data is the fuel for the solutions around us that we take for granted. But what if I told you that half of these stories were being neglected? That gender bias is being exponentially exacerbated by this data revolution, and that as a woman, I'm impacted every day by this data gap. So how will we solve this? We present to you Mind the Gap, an app for women's safety that will utilise local data points to create interactive maps to help women feel safe travelling. This will lead to safer journeys, higher education rates, and an increase in community wellbeing.
Introducing our app, Mind the Gap, a revolutionary take on transportation safety through visualizing key transportation data gaps. On opening the app, she'll be able to confirm her data can be shared. Thus, she begins her journey. On her way, if she notices a road blockage on her path, she'll be able to anonymously report the hazard directly through our app. She can select through a survey which will categorize her data accordingly so that future commuters can see the data that she's detected. Similarly, if she feels unsafe or threatened, she can directly report the incident.
Today, public transport is the backbone of an equal opportunity society. By bridging the gaps within transport, we are paving the way to a future that not only helps women, but helps everyone. After all, a world for women is a world for all.
Super impressive. Who is the envies our judging panel to judge those down to the top three? Anyone want to do that next year? I'd just like to point out that not only did they have serious challenges to work on for one weekend only, but some of those teams joined together remotely and had only just met each other on the Friday night of the hackathon. And so they had all the team dynamics to navigate as well. So super, super impressive effort there as well. Okay, so we know that that's pretty thirsty work. We're now going to take a small 10-minute break to leave you hanging for the announcements to come. So grab a drink, have a chat, meet some new friends, and we'll see you in 10 minutes' time. Welcome back to everyone here in person and also online on our Hack Live site. Are we ready to find out the winners of this year's hackathon? Yeah, I'm going to introduce that. I'm just creating some more suspense. Okay, so before we find out the winners, we're going to take a look back through our highlights reel from the hackathon weekend, and you can get a bit of a quick gist of what went down that weekend.
Welcome to the 2024 Humanitarian Innovation Hackathon.
I am the ancient heart, the keeper of the flame. I am
down to the last finalist
We welcome you to come back and join us on Monday, 19th of August. That's a wrap on 2024.
What a great weekend. Lots of learning experiences, lots of thinking, lots of research, lots of doing and hacking that weekend. And we've got some students here. How good was it? Did you have fun? That's good. Okay, so the moment we've all been waiting for, let's meet the winners of the Humanitarian Innovation Hackathon 2024. And to present the winners, I'd like to welcome Professor Ron Johnston, former Executive Director of the Australian Centre for Innovation. Okay.
Thank you, Melanie.
Would you like to introduce the
I need to get it. It's a great honour, obviously, to be asked to present the prizes. And that last little clip reminded me of the extraordinary energy that occurs in just 48 hours. I would also particularly like to thank my colleagues from the Warren Centre and the Faculty of Engineering who transformed a bold dream into an amazing reality. Now, I have an envelope. An aside. Logies, eat your heart out. You got nothing like the quality of what we have here tonight. Classes, so I'm pleased to announce the third place team is Team UC. Made up of Jessica Dixon, Wyson Kwang, Kien Neo, and Vaughan Smart from the University of Canterbury, New Zealand. And mentor Brian Avendano.
Okay. Awesome. All right, we're going to now see Team UC's winning submission.
Kia ora, everyone. We are a team of 4 of Wyson, Jess, Vaughan, and Kien from the University of Canterbury in Christchurch, New Zealand. We are targeting the Challenge B, which is about the food produce in Pacific Islands. And here's our project of Upgrade Digital. We pass to my team to talk more about that.
Kia ora. So the challenge we're focusing on is Challenge B, so using digital technologies to minimize food waste. Our problem is the disconnectivity of Pacific Islands prevents effective synergies and trade from being discovered. So what we aim to provide is a cohesive digital solution, AgriTrade Digital, that allows farmers to trade production resources, crops, and collaborate to acquire supplies. While developing the solution, we are considering environmental impact, accessibility to online software, technicality of data storage and servers, and the community.
So our problem is fueled by the fact that there's a huge number of disconnectivity in the Pacific Islands. Agriculture in the Pacific is largely dependent on family-based farms, and produce is often spoiled and damaged along the supply chain. Digital technology is often difficult in the Pacific because they lack the capital, and we have to consider facts like smaller size of land available to users. And imports of agriculture is often really expensive, so seeds and fertilizers have really high transportation costs. The Pacific is unique in the sense that they have thousands of scattered islands having unique challenges. They also have to balance agricultural needs with conservation of natural ecosystems. We consider facts like indigenous cultural practices, and much of the Pacific lacks infrastructure and resources needed for technological solutions.
So the solution that we've come up with to tackle this is called AgriTrade Digital, and it's an app that will automate the agricultural trade, bridging farmers and ensuring that produce waste is limited. So it would be essentially like a digital marketplace for farmers to trade resources, make use of equipment, that sort of thing. And it would use algorithms to automatically match people, or similar to the algorithms that are used on like dating apps, that sort of thing. And it would be a really easy to use interface for local farmers, and there'd also be other systems like QR codes in place for accessibility. This is a bit of a wireframe of what it might look like. It's based on the different stages of production. So, for example, in land preparation, you might be trading things like if someone's got a plot of land that they're not using, but they really need some fertilizer for their other crops, then they might be able to make a trade of someone else can come and use their land for in trade of something else. And there's different examples of that throughout the process. It would also look at trading like surplus food waste, that sort of thing. So there's all sorts of usage examples, which I'll let Kian talk about.
So there are four main of usage example. One of the first one is food surplus exchange. It's all about decrease food loss and wastage, and encourage diverse produce. The second one is trade, which is promote trade within the supply chain and help with finding cheaper resources. The third one is sharing suppliers, which is all about economy of scales, low per unit costs, and collective support. The final one that I want to talk about here is connecting the community, which foster closer farming relationships and farmer to farmer tradings. I'm going to pass over to my team to talk more about the considerations.
So our values for this project have been guiding us throughout our considerations. So for our people aspect, we really want to be fostering cross-produce trade. So the ability for small growers who have a large supply of one crop to trade with other people to get other crops. We want high levels of production and low levels of food waste, less people going hungry. For the planet, we want the sharing of knowledge to enable sustainable practices, integration of Pacific collectivism, and then prosperity. We're going to bring improved food security and economic development.
So our project is taking a community lens, and we're doing this through a QR code system. So AgriTrade will partner with farmers to produce them individual profile-based QR codes, which will allow other people to view their profiles and what excess supplies that they have. Other farmers are able to scan and view those profiles at places like markets and local supermarkets.
We've also had to consider some technical aspects and accessibility aspects. So on the technical side, you need to think about some different data storage options and also the algorithm that would be used to pair up different farmers. On the accessibility side, we had to decide whether it's feasible for it to be online, and we decided based on the mobile phone ownership rate of 80% in the Pacific Islands, it would be reasonable for this to be an online app, and that makes everything a lot easier. And the location of the servers being in Fiji, where the capacity for infrastructure is a bit higher and it is reasonably central. It's a bit of a hub.
So here are the 4 points. Benefit the environment. First, we recognize the sustainable indigenous value through Tongan and Fijian values. We mitigate food waste, in essence, bridging the gap for food security with low carbon impact. Our app does not require large amount of tangible infrastructure. And finally, it's circular economy. So we really want our organization to be realistic. So we've designed it as a non-profit organization. We've looked at certain initiatives from the New Zealand government, like Business Link Pacific, who support entrepreneurship through finance. We've also outlined a 3-step action plan. So step 1 is that we'll launch our Grow Our Pacific campaign to gather donations. Step 2 is that we'll engage with volunteer organizations like Think Pacific to develop a prototype. And step 3 is that we gather feedback, insights, and propose it to the Pacific community, who are the International Development Organization for the Pacific.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and I think we've got Vaughan online on Zoom to accept the prize for his team.
Kia ora! Hey everyone, my name's Vaughan. I'm here with my awesome team members, Ken and Jess. Our other team member, Wyson, is currently in New York at a conference, but we're here in UC, joining in on Zoom, and we'd really just like to say a big thank you to the University of Sydney and the awesome team behind what's been a really interesting challenge. We all enjoyed exploring how we could contribute to solving problems within the Pacific and humanitarian causes. So yeah, thank you and congratulations to all the other competitors. And it was really awesome to see your amazing slideshows and the hard work you've put into this cause.
A huge congratulations to Team UC for that one. Now, Ron, let's announce who the winner of the second prize is.
The organisers carefully ensured that I didn't have to try to might have delayed the So, into the mic. Oh, sorry. Second prize tonight in our exciting adventure is to Kesh. Team members Ellie June, Kathy Kim, Sophia Lee, and Hannah Poon, and mentor Yash Goyal.
Awesome, congratulations. We're going to do first place at the moment.
Hi, my name is Sophia and I'm representing Kesh. I'm here with my members, Kathy, Ellie, and Hannah. First of all, we'd just like to thank everyone, the organisers, and we'd like to thank Professor Ron Johnson for this memorable opportunity to think outside of the classroom setting. This
Today we tackle a
hackathon
critical
really
issue
inspired us to think about how we can contribute to the community more and to be more proactive. It was challenging, but it was a fun experience. And with the rise in technology in this current world, we believe this hackathon is really important for students to learn how to integrate it to create solutions for real life problems. So we'd like to thank everyone once again. And yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. We're going to see their full submission right now.
Today we tackle a critical issue affecting the efficiency of small-scale food producers in the Solomon Islands, the coconut rhinoceros beetle infestation. These pests damage crops, reduce yields, and exacerbate food insecurity. We are Kesh, proudly sponsored by the University of Sydney, proposing a solution for our valued Pacific Islands.
The beetle infestation in the Solomon Islands has exposed significant gaps in pest management and food production. The beetle is endemic to the South and Southeast Asian region, feeding and breeding in areas with palm trees such as those prominent in the Solomon Islands. These have been reported to damage various resources such as sugarcane, pineapple, and coconuts. Limited logistical challenges have hindered effective control measures. Biosecurity Solomon Islands sought emergency funds in 2015, but no new funds were provided until 2018. Often, resource allocation is influenced by geopolitical interests, leaving less strategic regions with minimal support. Farmers and local communities heavily reliant on coconut palms face income loss and food insecurity due to beetle damage, creating stress and production uncertainty. The decline in coconut and oil palm production reduces farmers' income and raises consumer prices. In 2018, $300 million in export earnings were lost due to the beetle infestation. Over 86% of Pacific Island countries and territories need help to develop farming methods and resources for biological control. We aim to offer a practical, immediate solution for farmers. Destroying beetle-infested palm trees can disrupt local ecosystems, affecting nearby crops and leading to soil erosion and habitat loss. This can harm the overall environmental health.
Methods such as only collecting data and implementing nationwide education systems have been employed to tackle the beetle issue, but they often had limited effectiveness, being unable to keep up with the species growth. Pesticides are also limited due to the beetle variants like CRBS and CRBG introduced to the Solomon Islands in 2015 and 2021, respectively. These variants require constant pesticide modifications, often of higher concentrations, which is unsustainable and increases the risk of crop damage. Biological controls such as introducing new species have more risk than benefits, as evidenced by past failures with the cane toad and plague minnow. Whilst the farmer program promotes the above contemporary solutions, our team prompts to offer a practical and more direct idea. Recent acoustic technologies demonstrate their acoustic monitoring systems, which use sound waves to study beetle behavior. Similarly, we present as data collecting bioacoustic device that is equipped to emit sound waves, which influence the movement of beetles whilst gathering data in relation to weather patterns for analysis and prediction of pest control. These will be placed along the parameters of the farm to repel beetles and confine them into a designated area, allowing for easy collection of these pest species, ultimately reducing the agricultural threat. The prototype consists of an audio transducer and a sensor for data collection. Data will be stored on an SD chip to be read externally by the user. The device will mainly utilize solar power to enforce sustainability, but will be equipped with a recycled battery backup. Wavelengths will oscillate between 0 to 24 kHz, held between 60 to 70 decibels, a volume which has shown to affect rhinoceros beetle behavior and is negligible to surrounding creatures. Our prototype draws inspiration from Farm 21's cost-effective sensors that have been targeted to assist the smaller-scale farmers. The cost of up to $2,000 for nationwide implementation of this technology is a worthwhile investment to ensure food security, sustainable farming practices, and increased production. Partnership with Farm 21 as a long-term investment will provide farmers with advanced digital pest control solutions. By proposing our innovation to various companies, we would include these components for a combined cost of less than $100, emphasizing how cost-effective our solution is.
Our solution addresses the agricultural problem directly and has positive implications for health and well-being. Research shows pest outbreaks have led to a loss of key nutrients, causing increased consumption of low-quality foods, with the World Health Organization revealing a rise in non-communicable diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer. Whilst our solution doesn't directly address these health issues, we hope to break the cycle and encourage safe and healthy nutrients back into their diets. By ensuring a predictive model using sensors to analyze data trends of pest control, as well as actively repelling them through bioacoustics, low-scale farmers will be able to efficiently allocate resources where needed, increasing sustainability of land and minimizing pesticide usage. Furthermore, doubling food production and the maintenance of the island's main source of trade, coconut oil, ultimately achieving SDG Target 2.3. Overall, our team plans to integrate digital technology with environmental solutions to create a bioacoustic sensor that mitigates pest control issues in the Solomon Islands, benefiting the community whilst respecting the connection to the land.
An awesome project there from Team Cash. All right, Ron, you ready for the big one? $5,000 on this one, the winner of the hackathon for 2024.
24. Can we improvise a drum roll? Thank you. I am delighted to announce that the first prize winner is Sid Gong Solutions. Team members Nicholas Chiaverini and Liam Harvey from the University of Wollongong, Harrison Ledger from the University of New South Wales, Casey Lockery from the University of Sydney, and the mentor Yash Goyal. And it's marvelous to see the cross-institutional collaboration of people from different universities.
I have a job for you in a moment, Ron, so don't go too far away. Now we're going to see your submission.
The Pacific Island nations lack the adequate infrastructure to protect natural water sources from contamination, risking the proliferation of waterborne diseases. Between 2009 to 2011, an uncontrollable cholera outbreak spread across Papua New Guinea, resulting in 15,000 infections and over 500 deaths. Increased extreme weather events threaten the supply of safe drinking water, further exposing Pacific Island nations. In order to achieve Sustainable Development Goal number 6, populations must have confidence in the safety of their water supply. In order for Pacific Islanders to access guaranteed safe water sources, routine monitoring and testing must be done for contamination and disease. However, routine laboratory-grade testing of every water source is expensive and impractical for developing nations. While community feedback is resourceful, contamination of waterborne diseases, such as cholera, can be difficult to notice until after an outbreak has occurred. Our solution to this issue is a tap nozzle that can be distributed to households and businesses. It's composed of a nozzle attachment with a built-in sediment filter to remove particulates. This nozzle also has a reaction chamber which contains polyclonal antibodies and a colorimetric dye such as tetramethylbenzene. This enables real-time detection of biological contaminants. Users observe changes in the dye's colour to identify potential contamination of their water. Upon noticing a change, users can scan the attached QR code to report the data. All user-reported data is sent to a centralised system which logs and displays points of concern and assists in the development of a response. When addressers first receive their nozzle, they will install it and scan the QR code to set it up. They log their home address and what room the nozzle is in, similar to a Google Home. Next, water passes through the nozzle where large particulates that could damage and interfere with the reaction chamber are removed, and the contaminated water reacts with the polyclonal antibodies and the TMB indicator. The dye then changes colour, instantly making visible that a contamination is present in the water source. The user observes the colour change and reports the contamination via the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the nozzle. The data is published on the app and made visible to everyone, including local health authorities, doctors, and other residents. This data is also stored and triaged based on a prioritative AI system, which assists in the allocation of resources and response based on that data. Mobile response teams would then investigate sources of contamination which are reported. They collect water samples to complete more comprehensive water testing and ensure the addresses' nozzles are refilled and working correctly. After this, further action is determined based on the results of the comprehensive water testing. For example, clusters of cholera outbreaks may indicate contamination issues at the water source which supplies all those infected, which can then be addressed. The nozzle itself would be made out of polyethylene terephthalate, either mass-produced and brought into the site of concern, or 3D printed locally using PET filaments. The sediment filter would screw in with a thread on the nozzle, making it easily replaceable. The thread itself would be standardised for the location, but other options may have to be produced to account for all types of water outlets. The refillable reaction chamber makes the nozzle itself a permanent fixture, only requiring refilling of the antibodies and dye, routinely performed by the mobile response teams. Our solution has a range of benefits which make it applicable for a developing nation. It's cost-effective, which means it's designed to be low cost for widespread community adoption. It engages local communities in monitoring their own water quality, empowering them to do their part. It uses real-time reporting to ensure immediate awareness and response to water quality issues, and it also uses enhanced geospatial mapping, where data integration allows for detailed mapping of water quality across regions. This data can be used in predictive analytics to forecast potential water quality issues. Data is recorded from nozzle testing and integrated into geospatial information systems to identify high-risk clusters of infection. Such information enables health authorities to redirect testing, quarantine, and alternative water sources towards high-risk areas. This information also enables authorities to identify and shut down and treat contaminated water sources. The rollout of these nozzles would be funded by a government and not-for-profit partnership, ensuring that there is no cost to the user. This would also ensure stability, scalability, and effective community implementation and education. The reporting app encourages community engagement through self-reporting features, actively involving them in their own well-being. The app also is a hub for educational resources on safe water practices, ensuring a wealth of knowledge and expertise is at the fingertips of the users. Our mobile app provides a user-friendly interface for both users and health officials. The dashboard displays real-time health metrics and trends, facilitating efficient monitoring and response.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Syngog Solutions right now. Here we go.
We'd just like to briefly say thank you so much to the organisers, the staff, the professors, and everybody who made this possible. It was an incredible opportunity to participate in across that weekend. We had a lot of fun. I know we did as a team, grappling with some challenges that are pretty practical and real. And I think that speaks to the value of a program like this. It's not just problem solving for any purpose, it's for a purpose of mankind. And thank you so much for the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much. And everybody who made today possible as well, in terms of catering and helping around. Thank you so much. So thank you.
Ooh, we've got prizes. Now, what is a competition without a giant check? So to help present that with Professor Ron, we're going to invite Professor Hesham El-Gamal, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, to come up here as well. Thank you. Run. Can't see it on the screen. Yeah. Needs to be here. Hey boys, can you just bring that over here and hold it up to the camera for everyone online? Here, just
Okay.
stand over here.
Yes.
If they can't see.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's probably a better idea, isn't it?
Congratulations. Now we go. Hesham. Hesham. I'm going to invite you up. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess first, I'd like to thank all the organizers, my colleagues from the Warren Center, my colleagues from the Faculty of Engineering, the professors, the organizers, and everybody for making that happen. It's quite a privilege to be with you today. And to all our participants in the competition, I'd like you to know that you are all winners. So maybe we have some super winners, but all of you are winners. This is the beginning of a journey. And I hope that you found the time you spent with us fun, joyful, and useful. Life is a marathon. You will have many more opportunity to contribute, and you can build on what you learned here. And I would like just to reflect on the idea that many times when people with a lot of gray hair like me talk, we talk like we are imparting knowledge upon you. But actually, in many cases, if we pay attention, there is much to learn from you. And I would just think about like the last team here, which cuts across multiple universities, working together in 48 hours to accomplish something. I would say if we really learn from you as a society and get to work together and stuff, we will accomplish much. Engineering has been a very successful discipline. If you look at our contribution to society over the last 100 years, we've done good. But when I look at you, I feel that you're going to do at least 10 times better than us. When I was your age and my brain was still functioning, I didn't know anything about humanitarian engineering, or I just loved math and science. You're way ahead of us. Your focus on problems that the society needs, on putting technology to good use. Keep that with you. Humanitarian engineering, I mean, if it's up to me, I would say all engineering should be humanitarian engineering one way or the other. And we've also learned as a society that when we don't pay attention to the context, we end up, a lot of engineering stuff we build end up not necessarily used for the best of everybody. So keep that idea, but learn your math, learn your science, because you need those skills within the right context. I think you're going to do magic. So thank you for inviting me to today, and congratulations to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Hesham. Once again, congratulations to all the winners. Like I said before, it was very tough judging, and to do so, we needed some amazing heads to come together in the judging panel, including Sir Peter Cosgrove, former Governor General of Australia. So he's seen your work. And obviously a panel extending across the triple helix from research to academia and industry, and lots of people represented on that panel. Participants, you all deserve a massive pat on the back for your efforts. It was a big weekend. I know you were tired at the end, but super exciting to have that experience under your belt. Thank you so much for our advisory committee, the Warren Center, our sponsors, and that weekend's hosting. Thank you, Ashley. Pernille, who did all the tech stuff and videoing and Hack Live. Thank you so much. There's too many people to thank. It takes a team to put on an event like this, and thanks to everyone involved, mentors as well. Matt, you're here representing them. To our guests here at the auditorium tonight, we hope you're enjoying the drinks and canapes, and we'll continue doing that with us as we take this event out now. So have a great evening, and thank you for coming.